All right. This lady says she's a professional muse. Let's see if that's what she is. The first thing I think when I pull up this particular Instagram video is as soon as I pull it up, it looks like what I often see on Instagram and other social media apps, which is a clip that is being used as the top of the funnel to get somebody to click into an OnlyFans to go and buy adult pictures and videos. In other words, I will see a reel pop up on my explore page. I will see one pop up in my feed, and it'll be, in my case, as a straight man, it'll often be a woman who is like doing something that is supposed to be suggestive enough to give me the idea that it is what it is, but not too over the top, so that one, it doesn't get flagged by Instagram as being pornographic, and two, so that it's just showing a little leg. It's not giving up everything because the person behind it, or the person who is the muse there in front of me, they want somebody to click through to their OnlyFans funnel and buy stuff from them. This is internet marketing as it exists today. So what I'm looking at right here looks just like one of those reels. And in fact, I believe that it is that, no matter what words are about to come out of this person's mouth. But let's listen. All right, here we go.
I'm going to tell you 3 things I do as a professional muse for geniuses. And if you're one of the women at the end who's like, oh my God, I've been doing this for other people for free the whole time, then you need to follow me. Number 1, I am a safe space for geniuses. Let that sink in. Number 2, I guarantee to increase their quality of life with my presence. My energy, my vibe, my intellect, my personality. I'm not giving them ideas, I'm just being me. Number 3, I'm a witness to their process. Sometimes I bring my camera, other times I'm just there. But you'd be surprised how many people want to be seen in action when they know that they can't necessarily invite their entire audience, but it's a bit of ego, it's a bit of wanting to share a very special moment with somebody and experience something not alone. So if those resonate with you and you're curious about professional musing or have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below, give me a follow, and meow. Hi, my name is Ennis like Tennis. Nice to meet you.
My favorite part is when she says meow. Okay. I'm going to tell you exactly what I see in this video. She just walked us through 3 ways that she's a professional muse for geniuses. All right. Now, I think even to call them geniuses is marketing. She throws that in there so that some guy who wants to believe he is a genius and just needs a woman to be a safe space, to be some sort of empty receptacle for his genius, will inspire him, will unload him, will like unleash him so that he can live up to his potential. I have a few things that I want to say about this. Number one, the internet is a place of despair. And I do like to watch despair. I watch horror movies every night because I enjoy looking at despair. Um, and I think possibly because there's something that's like pretty honest about it. When you see people being desperate, I don't know this person's living situation, so I'm projecting onto her. I don't know what her circumstances are, but she reminds me of the desperation of the internet, which is that this video, by the way, has like 120,000 views on her page. Everything else on her page has like 10,000 views or less. She herself probably has about 6,000 followers. This is not a famous person. This is a person trying to find a way to make some money on the internet, which is what almost everybody on the internet is doing right now, especially given the state of the economy and our sort of national depression crisis. So, what I see here is much in the way that I coach a lot of people to use the internet, someone who is using her own image, her own words, her own ideas to try to draw attention, which she has done well, to get somebody to give her money, is what I see here. This is an unfortunate mirror for me, okay? Um, because what she's trying to do here is what she sees other people doing on the internet, including all the way down to presenting herself as an authority on this topic. This is what I'm doing, ladies. And so if you're one of those ladies out there who's dot dot dot, you should do dot dot dot. It's like the advice industrial complex that we have on the internet. And what's tricky about it for me is I occupy this space for a different type of group of people. I think for people who are like who were once Hollywood aspirants who are trying to pivot themselves into the creator economy, I am one of these sort of talking heads on the internet that tells them ways that they can make that happen for themselves. And I think what's spooky about it is I do think that there is some threshold that you pass where you actually are a meaningful voice, are someone that other people could and should listen to, right? And it sort of, what's the word? It transcends the dimensions of like any one particular social environment. Meaning, I have a lot of followers on Instagram, um, but some of those people have found me because I've written books, because I've written for TV shows, because I've written and sold some movies and podcasts. And there's like, as people say about the stock market, there's an underlying asset underneath the bells and whistles of me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube saying, hey, look over here, listen to me. I got to tell you something, right? There's an underlying asset. This is at least what my ego tells me because it makes me feel better about this, which is that I actually have done this stuff. I've executed these plays. Now, on the internet, what's sort of special and remarkable about the internet today is that you don't need those underlying assets. This lady can tell us she does whatever she says she does, and if people believe her and people click through, then she has a chance to make some money. Um, when she says that she's been a muse for geniuses in these three ways, I have no way to verify that that's true. I have no way to verify that that's untrue. I'm so curious about the definition of a genius in her eyes, but it really doesn't matter in her eyes. It matters more in the eyes of the people, the demographic of people who will stop on this, who will click this and try to pass through on it. Now, I think there's something else being said here, which is like a little bit tongue in cheek, which is something about a man specifically, a straight heterosexual man's uh, breathless desire to see himself as a genius and to be around women who will be an empty vessel or a blank canvas passed back to the sound of his own voice. And I think that this person, this lady that I'm looking at right here, who has labeled herself Pro Muse WTF, I think she probably understands that that's a role that she's been asked to play by men in the past, whether or not she was even a willing participant. And so now she's saying, all right, well, I'm going to corner the market on this shit. I'm going to actually productize this since you all are putting me in this position anyway. Like she says, ladies, if you've been doing this for free, maybe you can brand this so that you can actually make some money doing this. And let's talk about that thing, which is that guys want to have an empty pass back for their voice. I'm 38. A lot of my friends got married in their late 20s. It was like all my like well-to-do friends, all my guy friends who wanted to like complete the box set to make themselves feel like men. Many of them fatherless. And I don't mean like altogether fatherless, but like didn't grow up with a dad. And so I think there was some level of a rush to try to complete what is being marketed to us as a full family box set by being that dad in the complete set family. And so I also found that many of them, this is not to say that their wives don't have something to say, because I know a lot of their wives and they do have something to say in my observation, but many of them, as I saw it, chose partners where they could where in partnerships. I'm being slow and careful because I'm scared of hurting people's feelings, so let me just say what I'm saying. They chose partnerships where they could feel like the special one, where they could feel like the big voice in the room, where they could feel like if anyone comes to my house or comes and sees my family, they will see me and what I've surrounded myself with, what I've built for myself, including this person who's supposed to be my 50-50 equal here. Um, I would observe in them dynamics where when you hang out with all of them together, the family or with friends or whatever, and it's almost like the woman in the couple is asked to sort of like shush her point, like, you know, just kind of stay over there. Like, don't say too much. Don't engage with my guy friends too much. Not too much, you know, not too much weighing in on the conversation here. Don't own the floor too much. You know what I mean? Because God forbid that people will see you instead of seeing me and my genius. You will find in these guys, and I don't just mean my friends, not to just pick up on my friends, but I do know a lot of guys like this. But I mean, you will also see in many men, they will do a thing, which is they will talk up their wife or partner, their muse, when that person's not around. Oh, she's so brilliant. She's so interesting. She's so smart. She has such great opinions on this and this and this, as it is a reflection of them. And then when you actually get around the person, right? They barely create any space at all for that person to embody personhood in your presence. And so I have found, you start to recognize every man thinks he is a genius and wants to have a partner who reflects back on him what will make him feel like genius, no matter how big or small his life actually might be, no matter how diminutive his talents or stature or voice might truly be. I think this lady she sees that. She gets it. She's capitalizing on it. And as I see the internet, here's what she's up against, which is that so many of the guys who are built that way, they are now discovering ChatGPT and other AI tools as an even less demanding pass back for the sound of their voice, one that needs even less in the way of its own affirmation, validation, and stature, right? They're talking to robots all day, which make them feel like God, like a big voice. There are women, there are creations on the internet built by AI that are AI avatars that this lady is now up against because men specifically want so badly to be surrounded in a cone of the sound of their own voice that they would rather talk to a robot or watch a woman robot on the screen do what they tell it to do than to have to deal with the balance of the give and take engagement back and forth of two human beings giving and receiving from each other so that they can keep the symbiosis. All right? And then the danger is that those guys go back into society having just engaged with a robot all day that in their head takes on the shape of a human, and that robot just all day told them what they wanted to hear and challenged them only in the ways that it gave that guy, a rise, not an actual challenge, no actual threat of leaving, right? Because it's a fucking robot. And then those guys go back into society with their chests filled up. I know these guys so well, with their chests and their heads bloated, filled up, as though they are actually interesting because a robot or a faceless person, I'm sorry, a bodiless face on the screen told them they were. They go back into their actual relationships with human beings and face such an awkward and uncomfortable and at times dangerous friction because of course nobody on the other side of you thinks you're that interesting. Now you're trying to force the people around you to affirm a genius in you that you haven't earned because it's not there. And so if this lady wants to be a professional muse for geniuses and others want to follow in her footsteps doing so, I hope she continues to keep the safe barrier, the layer of the digital space between her and her clients instead of ever actually meeting them in real life. Because I think AI and the internet in this funneled way are making those guys more and more dangerous every second. I'm experiencing that just in my relationships with them as a friend. All right, that's it. I did it. Goodbye. I'm at Chadsand, Chad Sanders on Instagram, at Chadsand on Instagram.